Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. And I want to say this. I'm sitting at this table with these people that I call superheroes. And I call these superheroes part of my family. So we're doing a family of superheroes today. Oh, yeah!
Nice
Superhero
segue,
family.
dude.
You like that,
Superhero
huh?
family.
This is something Jason has been pushing for eons.
decades.
A bazillion years. What?
At
Yes,
least 3.
yes.
At least 3 years.
Yes.
And it's not because we haven't wanted to. I just, for whatever reason, it was just like, oh, we'll
Yeah.
get back to it.
It's a great subject.
This is going to be a fun
in the
subject.
in the geek world for sure. I mean, it's a very important staple in the superhero world for sure.
Oh, it's yeah. We'll get into the starts and everything else in a minute. I'm Dub, and I wrote this script, and
You're kind of like the dad.
I'm the dad.
You are.
yeah,
kind
you're
of.
the dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Or the-
I'm a paternal type on this.
Kind of. Yeah, I'd
Okay.
give you that.
Creepy uncle,
So
maybe.
yeah, I would like y'all to actually tell us who you are and what part of the superhero family would you consider yourself?
Yeah, you guys can all tell us who you are individually, and I'm going to tell you who you are as
That
well.
works. I'm Miss Geeky Paige, and since I'm the only girl, I'm probably the mom.
No, I wouldn't
really
have you as
not.
the
I
mom.
think that I'm the annoying little sister, but okay.
Yeah, sister. I can
You're a
see the
sister, but you're not the little. You're the oldest sister.
You're the older sister.
I would have you as
Annoying sister.
old sister.
No, the older sister, the know-it-all.
I think I just say
That
sister.
definitely pushes you.
I am an older
Yeah, it
sister,
definitely pushes,
too, so.
and not in a bad way. But
In
you're-
real
yeah.
life, I'm an older sister. So.
Well, there you go. Sister. That one works. Sister. I'm for that one.
Okay, creepy Uncle Blythe.
No.
I'm Blythe, and I am the hip and
Baby.
hip and cool younger brother.
Baby of the show. You are the youngest child.
I wouldn't.
I'm the
use-
You know
Jack
what?
Jack.
I would.
Let's take the age thing out of it.
Yes,
Ooh.
you're Jack
Jack
Jack.
Eh.
He's Jack Jack.
I could blow up.
Jack
at
Jack
any
attack.
I think that you are the guy that's younger than everybody at the table, but you definitely have the same older mindset of everybody at the table.
Yeah, I
you
wouldn't
just don't
really
want to
call you
admit
the
to it.
hip
You want to
and
fight
cool
it.
brother.
I'm the hip and cool brother.
I'd call you my little brother.
Are you
'cause
the
you
Chuck?
act like my little
Are you the
brother.
Chuck?
What's
no,
a Chuck?
actually, right now, Kaj is the Chuck. He went upstairs, and we're waiting for him to come down.
He's never come down again.
He's
I-
coming back.
I don't know if you guys have
Blythe is
watched.
too young for that
I don't know if
reference.
you've watched it yet because I mentioned it's worth watching.
So
But
he'll
you know,
never watch
no,
it
in a
then.
lot of ways, you're kind of the Phineas from Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, Phineas and Ferb.
That's
Yeah, I
actually
watched it,
that's who
yeah,
you
no.
remind me of a lot because you've got the tech skills and the the youthful innovation and stuff like that.
But he's not British.
Yeah, he's not-
That's Ferb.
Oh, sorry.
Phineas is not British.
There you go.
I've seen probably 100 episodes, and I don't know which one's which. One's a triangle, and one's an F.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm PB&Jason. Some old guy title is going to fit me, either the uncle or the grandfather or
He's the cranky
something.
grandfather.
Something.
No,
I wouldn't call him a grandfather.
No?
I think he's more of an
Uncle?
He's probably the uncle that bought you beer.
He's Rocky
Oh.
Raccoon.
And and I'm not saying that
Oh.
like you're creepy.
The wreck.
I'm saying like you'd be the uncle that would sneak the kids off. Hey, let's go outside. Here, you
He's
want a
the
beer?
old man Logan.
I don't know.
Just without the superpowers
No, I don't. No,
and the ability
too
to
grizzled,
not
and
die.
I'm not grizzled. I'm softer and butterier than that. So no, that one doesn't fit me. No, yeah, uncle.
Okay.
I'm the Ben Grimm, maybe.
There you go.
No, that works.
That
That's not a bad one.
that works
Yeah, that's a
actually.
good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of hit the parameters of what we're going to be talking about today. We have I think that what the I guess level 1 that I'd want to talk about would like be a blood relation of superhero families.
Mm-hmm.
But then let's go a little deeper, and I want to actually be able to hit families
Bonds
they
so
become
tightly
family.
that they would be considered
They
family.
become family.
All right.
Good call.
So I think that's kind of where we're sticking to today. I don't know if we're going. We'll see where we go.
Works for me.
Yeah, and well, like one of the we can talk about a very important family that gets brought up a lot, like in our listener discussion, is the Shazam family. None of them are related, but they are considered actual brothers and sisters and family.
They were
And
all
they're-
from the orphanage. Yeah.
They're
Or
from
the-
orphanages.
Sorry, from the
yeah, foster house.
foster homes.
Foster house,
yeah.
yeah.
Right.
But I think there's something that's even more special than blood with a family that's that way because you've chosen to be.
Right.
So that's something I think that any good superhero team that's been around a long time is going to have those kind of familial bonds.
Yeah.
And then so
there's teams that do and teams that don't. I mean, I would say you guys can pipe in on this one. I mean, obviously the Fantastic Four is the.
Well, I want to hit that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just quick on that. They're the template for the blood related.
Even though they're not
family,
all
even though Ben is not,
at all.
but they're the template for the superhero family, and a lot of the later superhero families mimic them, like really mimic them or kind of mimic them, and taken aspects of them. But I want to put out one that I don't think is a family at all, and that's the Avengers. I don't think that the Avengers are in any way, shape, or form through any of their iterations a family. I think they're
individuals,
a team, and very much kind of individual in their identities. And I think that that's how you can kind of separate a team from a potential family.
Well, I feel like to go from team to family, there's certain archetypes that really need to be met, and one of the most important ones is a paternal type. It's not a mom or dad, but a paternal type character. Like the X-Men are a family. Why? Because Professor X is a father before he's anything else.
You could argue that, though, with the Avengers, because Captain America is clearly the paternal character.
But I don't think anybody looks at him as a father. They don't look for
nurturing. I don't think they do either.
I disagree with that. I think you have members of the team that definitely would look up to him as a father type, especially the younger Avengers like Spider-Man.
And even that, you've got a situation, like if we talk in terms of the MCU, you've got a situation where clearly Tony has the most tech. Thor is the most powerful. You've got
Thor's the oldest, so he should be the paternal, but he's not. Has nothing to do with age.
The shot caller in the field is always Cap. They always defer to Cap. Cap is the one that they look up to basically run them and keep them together. And then, I mean, you could also say that really, like in the MCU especially, you could say that Tony and Cap are really the two paternal mom and dad paternal characters, because when they fight, they split everybody in half. So, I mean, it's like when those two fight, there is the quote-unquote it's not massive destruction, but you know what I mean, of the Avengers as they're set up.
I'm going to stay on this side of the fence.
I agree with Jason on this one, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to say that Cap and Iron Man, which are definitely the role models, leaders,
are not a family.
Are not fatherly. I really don't think that they.
I think you have to have that paternal. I think you have to have that paternal unit feel in order to make a family.
Yeah, I think you could be a role model or an inspirational leader, someone that you
without
look up
being
to.
A family.
I mean, they kind of took Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU and made him a little bit look at Tony Stark in a paternal way. But that was a choice for the MCU, so I get that. But in general, I guess going from comic book canon. I don't see Iron Man or Cap as paternal. I see them as the definite inspirational leaders that even real powerful characters like Thor would turn to. I mean, Thor, there's a famous quote from Secret Wars where Thor was like, where Wolverine said something like, "I won't follow Cap. He's the least of us." And Thor was like, "I'd follow him through the 12 layers of hell because of what a good leader he is." And I think that's how they see him, as a leader, but not as a father figure.
But but going back to X-Men, everybody looks at the Professor as a father. Every one of the X-Men thinks of him as a father.
I don't think that you need a paternal figure though to consider a group of people a family.
There's something about the dynamic that makes them more family.
If you,
his definition of family is the.
And I say these are very loose definitions.
I mean, but if you just look at things like the military or like sports teams and things like that, those people consider each other family at some point. But it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a paternal figure involved. I think the same could be said about the Avengers, is that they're a team of people whose lives they know are in each other's hands, so they trust each other as if they were family. and they're people who live together and are together for a good portion of their day-to-day. If you look into comic book canon, and when they're in, whether they're living in Avengers Mansion or Avengers Tower or stuff, like there's entire side comics of them just basically sitcomming it up.
I think there's individuals on the team that might look at certain other individuals in a familial type way. In the MCU, you could say Black Widow and Hawkeye as examples in that way.
Definitely brother-sister.
Yeah, a brother-sister type deal.
And they're a family.
Yeah, and you might find pockets of familial brothers or brother-sister or whatever. But again, we're talking about the team and the whole team being family. The X-Men all do look at Charles Xavier as a father figure. He accepts and lives in that role. Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four
is the
father, literally.
No, but then we can also go with Avengers, and you have actual brother and sister that aren't a family at all, which would be like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. They're not family. I mean, no matter how you look at it, they're by blood, yes, but by every definition we've just talked about, they're not family. There is no.
I think the problem with Scarlet Witch and
they dated.
Yeah, it's because the convolution of their
origin.
Yeah.
Didn't that only happen in Ultimates though?
I don't remember.
They've retconned their. I mean,
so many
sometimes
times,
they're brother and sister, then sometimes they're married. I mean, it's just they have.
Sometimes they're Magneto's kids.
Are they the White Stripes?
Yeah. Sometimes they're Magneto's kids. Sometimes they're not Magneto's kids. I think the problem with them,
but they've never felt like family
just,
to me.
That I think it's because their backstory has been so convoluted over and over and over again. I mean, I would argue. I mean, another one I would throw in there is the Defenders. They're not a.
I don't think they're a family at all.
But they're kind of a family,
because I would argue that occasionally come together.
I would argue that Luke Cage and Danny Rand are almost brothers, but only in the Heroes for Hire
as those
storyline.
But that doesn't mean that they are a family.
And I mean, like the thing is you could say that Matt is really the kind of the dad, and you could say that Jessica's really the mom, a really dysfunctional, messed up mom. But
even though Jessica,
you're talking about the Netflix Defenders.
That version.
Yeah, that's version. But I mean, those are the same Defenders that are in the comic books as well. I mean, so you could argue that as well, but you could also argue not as well. So I mean, it's the same situation.
This is the important question: what does define family? Because we've just said that blood doesn't always do it, and these teams that are highly successful doesn't necessarily mean it's family. What does it mean? And I think that we're gonna have to say it this way. Yeah. What does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, we consider ourselves all family, but not one of us is the mom or the dad, I mean, we're a family, but nobody's really the patriarchal character in this. Yeah, you're the boss man, but you're not really the dad. I mean, it's more, but we consider ourselves a family.
Yeah, I think it's a trust and just a feeling you get when you're around a particular group of people that would have you consider them to be what you feel as family. I think family means a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Some people it is just blood. Some people it's the closest of friends. And like I said earlier, military, sports teams, people who work together on a day-to-day basis and become so close that they almost can tell what the other one is thinking. Like that's another type of family that you have.
I can't argue with those 2 points. They are, I mean, correct. I mean, to me it's like it's a level of like the intimacy. And I don't mean in a grown-up way. I mean in like the intimacy that you share with a group of people. Like I've been in bands that were definitely a family, and then some of the members that are still,
in a religious setting that would be called a agape or even a koinonia type of love, and that's that family, that familial.
Yeah. So the level of shared,
went deep on that
one. No, the level of shared, the level of shared intimate knowledge. The deeper that goes, the more to me it's like a family, which doesn't contradict what they said either. But yeah, that's how I see it.
Well, but even I felt like kind of familiar connections with even like our little Facebook group, for instance. You know, I felt the more that people give of you and you give back, and that's really that. Personally, anyway, I don't know if necessarily superhero teams, but that to me felt very familial. Is that, you know, because we give of ourselves all the time, and when people start giving back, it's a shared experience.
Yeah,
and I hope that doesn't ever water down the definition of family.
I don't
think it does. I think, like we said, it all has to do with the intimacy and the feelings of love that you share with that community of people.
Right.
I don't think that as long as you're experiencing those feelings, it should never be watered down.
Right.
Fair enough.
I think you hit it right on the head with the shared experiences and intimacy between the group of people.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect definition.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the geek world, no, actually, I want to talk about the first comic book family. And I think they were the first, weren't they?
Fantastic Four?
Fantastic Four? Was there one before them? That was before Spider-Man.
Again, this would be almost like this is how, like, even though there were fantasy before Lord of the Rings is the template. I think what Fantastic Four is the template. You know, I mean, Lois Lane and Clark Kent were.
Well, even the Kent family.
Yeah, and the Kent family were before.
That was another.
That was long before
template.
The Fantastic Four.
That was a template for what the family of a superhero.
But I guess if we're talking about a superhero team family, I think Fantastic Four probably is the first.
Well, that was Stan Lee's. It was supposed to be a swan song.
Yeah, was it?
Yeah, that he was going to be done after it.
Don't they say that about every character he creates? This throwaway character, Peter Parker.
That was the first one.
The
Fantastic Four.
Right.
That was the one that was inspired by his wife.
Okay.
From everything that I've...
the company he was working for at the time...
Timely.
Was it Timely? It may have been even before Timely.
Oh, okay.
Whatever company he was under when he made it, that company was going out of business.
Mm-hmm.
They were going out of business, and Stan Lee had been writing a particular type of
zombies and love comics.
Yeah, and it was like more like smutty stuff.
Yeah.
And
this all definitely does get a little convoluted.
Yeah, he wanted to write more family-oriented things with characters that actually had feeling behind them, and he took it to his editor, and because the company was about to go out of business, the editor just told him to throw it up. Just fine, do whatever you want. And then he did it, and it caught on. And it was just from there. But yeah, that
he had a habit of doing that.
I could see where they would say that was going to be his last thing.
Yeah.
To where if it hadn't caught on like it wouldn't, we probably wouldn't know the name Stan Lee today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about kind of the impact of the Fantastic Four. 4 characters, and that's any other time that they brought other characters in, it's always sucked. And they have brought a lot of... No, She-Hulk is great as She-Hulk. She-Hulk is not good with Fantastic Four. Spider-Man is not good with Fantastic Four. The other kids are Reed and Sue.
As good. I would say as good, because I did enjoy.
I can't enjoy.
I mean, when She-Hulk came in there, she's very close with them. Spider-Man was very close with them, but outside of Reed Richards and Sue and Johnny and Ben, yeah, there's never been a combination that has been perfect.
So, what is it about the template, or what is the template that just makes that have caught on, and every other superhero family literally has at least a little bit of the DNA from Fantastic Four? What is it that did that?
I think it was the real life feeling of a family, because for the most part they all are family. You have Johnny and Sue, who are brother and sister. Reed and Sue, who are the mom and dad.
Married, yes.
Yeah, married.
Ben is best friends like
Ben
brothers.
was the best friend that was like Reed Richards' brother. So they had an actual family dynamic, which a lot of people can relate to if you have a mom, a dad, and a couple of siblings. And the dialogue and the things that they went through felt like family dialogue. There was bickering. Johnny never listened. Reed Richards was overprotective of all of them.
It's an Archie comic
exactly.
with superpowers.
And that's why I think it's why it was a template for many things to come, is because it's something people could relate to.
And they chose to make each of them very distinctive. Now, Sue Richards didn't really get her due until later.
Way later.
Because she was just the doting wife for the longest time.
She served coffee.
And she definitely came into her own and became not only the most powerful member of the team, but her own real strong personality. But Reed was very distinctive as the egghead dad. Johnny was very distinctive as the cocky little brother, and Ben was very distinctive as the weird, tough, gruff, but lovable uncle. And they really...
The teddy bear.
Yeah, they really brought out those individual personalities within the unit. So you got to know them as people, but you got to know how that relationship evolved. When they get angry at each other, it meant more.
Yeah.
And when they were... friendly to each other, it meant more, because that dynamic was always there.
Because they are family. Because there's a husband and wife, and then there's a brother and a sister situation, and then there's a brother-in-law, and then there's the best friend who really is essentially a brother, just not by blood. Because it's there, I think the stakes are higher for them, because they have to function as a unit.
Okay, so what I kind of want to ask, I think it's kind of important to the conversation anyway, because they're family. I think the important question is, would it work if they would have had different personalities? Or is that the personality palette that just works? Like, could you...
such a hard... I mean, I don't even know.
Could you have made Johnny more of a Han Solo type character? And
well,
there's little bits of that.
He kind of is a Han Solo character, though.
Or could he have been nerdy? Could he have been friendless? Could Sue have been artsy instead of doting? Could other personalities have worked?
Okay, I think the general answer would be yes. If you,
and we're not talking trading.
If that's where it started, and you establish some relationships of intimacy, again, like I talked about earlier, then yes, I think you could have made Ben a soft-spoken strong guy, and Reed
angry,
and Sue artistic, and Johnny nerdy.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I think you could have done it. Would it have been so successful?
That's the question.
That one, I don't know if that can actually be answered. I mean, I don't know.
What about you guys? What do you think?
It's hard to say. I think yes. I think it would have been just as successful, because I don't think their personality traits is what made those characters catch on. I think it was the dynamic. If you kept the dynamic of the family the same, which was the part that was so relatable to so many people, then it still would have caught on. You could have just structured the characters in different ways.
I don't know if I agree with you, because I feel like their personalities is you can relate to one of their personalities. I mean, most people, 99% of people can relate to a person from Fantastic Four. So is it really the dynamic of them being a family, or is it them?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say that, yes, it would have worked, because look at The Incredibles. They're essentially the Fantastic Four. However, their powers are different, and their dynamic is different. Bob is the Reed Richards, but he's not the nerd. He's just this downtrodden, kind of depressed dude.
He's kind of the Reed Richards and the Thing.
He's the quarterback. He's the high school quarterback that has let himself go.
He's Johnny.
Violet has the same powers as Sue Storm, so she's the Sue Storm power-wise, but her dynamic is shy,
unlike anybody else,
introverted,
goth.
She's the goth emo
I would call her goth,
at first.
And then Dash is obviously the Johnny Storm.
Oh, he is
right.
There's nothing different.
There's that's
other than
exactly the same. Elastigirl is
the Sue Storm with Reed Richards' powers.
Right, but she's not the original incarnation of Sue Storm. She's
the modern one.
Modern mom. So And look how highly successful the Incredibles was.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing: they totally borrowed from.
It's a great show.
They totally borrowed though from the original Fantastic Four template.
Mm-hmm.
See, he's saying if the template was different. I wonder if the template was different, like he's talking about. If you ever would have seen the Incredibles.
No, I think he's saying that if the personality traits were different.
Yeah.
Would it be? But
so the template's the same.
Honestly, I'm saying both on that.
Okay, because the template's the same.
Yeah.
But the personality traits are completely different, and it still works.
Yeah.
But
so maybe
would it have worked without that original set?
I think so. I think anyone. It's not necessarily because there's only 5 of them, which means there's only 5 different personality types. There's way more personality types in the world than that, and so the relatable factor to me is the template of them being a family, not their actual personalities.
But going back to what we said earlier, when I mentioned that anytime they brought in other people, different personalities, it's never been nearly as entertaining or memorable.
You're talking about The Incredibles, aren't you?
No, I'm talking about
I'm talking about Fantastic Four.
Oh, okay.
There's only 4 of them.
Because you said 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 4.
Okay, now I'm on the right page.
But as I say, when they brought in other people, it's never been as memorable. I mean, even if you like it, the stories have never been as good. That doesn't come down to just writers. It has to do with
it always does feel like something's missing.
It also throws off the family dynamic because those people who are coming in aren't part of that family.
Even when they bring in Reed Richards' son, it's different. That's family.
Well, Franklin is Jack.
Yeah.
But
it just doesn't. Oh, yes, so there's 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
6,
it doesn't feel.
They do have a daughter.
They have the same family. They grew up in the same place, but it doesn't. There's just something about that. I think those personalities are really important. Mm-hmm. Are a lot more important than even before we started this conversation. It's more important.
Yeah. See, I know nothing about the daughter in the Fantastic Four. I know that they have one. Yeah, I don't know anything about her.
No, Violet's the Incredible.
No, in the Fantastic Four, I don't even know
Franklin's the only one I know.
I don't even know her name. I know they have Franklin, but they have a daughter too.
I say it's never been interesting when they brought in these other characters.
Yeah, I think maybe it goes back to also what I know that we've talked about in other podcasts, like when we talk about Cap and when we talk about Wonder Woman, we talk about Superman and Batman. They came along. Their creation happened just at the right time because readers were hungry for that type of a situation. With Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and whatnot, they needed an escape from World War II and the Great Depression. When the Incredibles, when the Fantastic Four came about, it was probably a situation too where people were hungry for something that addressed the nuclear family, and that's what it was. They're essentially the nuclear family.
Well, we've seen families in comic books change.
But it's the nuclear family turned up to 11 because they have superpowers.
Nuclear, literally, yeah.
Yeah. So, it takes that. It's the same conversation we had with the invention of Superman. People need heroes. So you've got Superman, who's essentially an everyman, but he's got all these superpowers. It's the same thing with this. You've got the nuclear family, you've got the mom, the dad, and the 2.5 kids. We're counting Ben as one of the kids and Johnny as one of the kids. But you have the mom, the dad, and the 2.5 kids, but they've got all the superpowers, so they're a family fighting crime, so it's something a family could kind of put themselves in place of. Maybe that was what caused them to click right when they did.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. We've talked about the superhero family itself, but let's talk about something that I think is just as heroic, and that is the family of a superhero.
Okay.
Like let's take for instance the Kents.
Yes.
No superpowers at all. They raised Superman, and they changed. They are as important to the Superman story as Superman himself.
Well, yeah, because he is Superman because of
the
Kents. Yes.
No, John and Martha Kent, and you don't have Superman.
No, I think we've all read Red Sun and all that. Yeah. We know it's an entirely different story.
Right. You could say the exact same thing about Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm. No Uncle Ben and no
Uncle Ben. What happened to Uncle Ben, and then Aunt May, and then Mary Jane.
And even what happened to his parents in the
right,
and
his parents,
and all these other characters. That is. I think that's something that when we talk about superhero families, we don't think about as much. I found that to be as interesting as the Fantastic Four, and that is, I want to read about these other characters. And I think that's, if we didn't have those, you can't relate to Superman. With that, you can't relate to, maybe you can relate to Spider-Man, but most characters you can't relate to without having that, and I don't even want to say supporting cast, because they're not supporting cast. They are main cast, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No Iris West and Joe West, and you don't have a Barry Allen.
Oh, absolutely not.
I'll tell
Henry Allen, you have no Barry Allen.
The most fascinating one to me is the one that has evolved and is actually a more modern incarnation, and it's from one of the, he was created by his family's tragedy, and that would be Batman, and how slowly but surely there has become a Bat family.
But Alfred, to me, is more important than the Bat family.
Well, for a while it was only Alfred, and then for a while it was Dick, and then it was. But it's always like it was very disjointed and separate. But the Bat family now, with Nightwing still alive, and Tim and Jason and Huntress and all of those, now how it's become the Bat family, and how he has finally accepted the role of the patriarch.
Yeah.
Where Alfred is now kind of like the grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
That one is fascinating to me. That some of those writers like Grant Morrison and stuff were able to make, actually not Grant Morrison, I think there's other ones far more.
Oh, there's a lot better.
But yeah, to make that come into being, the guy you'd think, the guy who trusts nobody, the guy who gives his vulnerability to nobody, has a family that he thinks of as a family.
Yeah. I've actually thrown most of our notes away. We went through like 6 different topics, and this is actually a lot more interesting of a topic than I thought it was going to be. Because we're hitting a lot of different things I didn't think about this. This is almost the psychology of
the superhero
family.
Which is really interesting.
It really kind of is.
And I don't feel like we're going as deep as we would if we were doing a psychology, but this is really interesting. Thank you guys for actually going on this little journey with us. Actually, let's jump over to because I don't want to miss it, let's head over to the listener feedback.
And now, let's see what all of our geek rock stars have to say.
Okay, so for our listener feedback today, we said, who's your favorite superhero family and why? And of course, Courtney is once again going to read this because I sound like poop when I read this.
So once again, thank you everybody for your great feedback. We really, really appreciate it. Keep them coming. So Danielle Ariana says The Incredibles. We mentioned them a little bit. For her, she said their story is unlike anything I'd ever witnessed in the genre before. It was nice to see a superhero family made up of everymen. And what's neat, check it out on the page, is we kind of all veered off into explaining how they're connected to the Fantastic Four. I'm not going to go into it in feedback, but the conversation was really neat, so check it out on,
her and
on the page.
House of R.
Yep.
The only good Fantastic Four movies in existence are The Incredibles.
And The Incredibles, exactly. Yep. So speaking of House of R, he's our next one. He had Team Flash from the CW, which I agree with. Doom Patrol and Titans, as dysfunctional as they are. And he also said going back to his childhood with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We like that one.
I love that pick, by the way.
That's great. Christina Beldam says the Shazam family. They are
the Marvel family. Just saying.
Marvel. Well, they're not actually. DC's not allowed to call them the Marvel family anymore.
We still can.
They're calling them the Shazam family. She likes they're unique and humorous, and they come from the heart. Foster kids becoming a family, and so much more. And Dino from the
podcast
also said the Shazam family because of their diversity and supporting, and they're ready to jump right in at any go.
And I really want to do a movie night of Shazam because there's a lot of things I really want to point out about that. But we'll get to it later.
So I'm going to let you say this one because you love it. Crystal
Midget.
He likes to say your last name, Crystal.
I love saying Crystal's last name.
She said these Sailor Scouts, groups of strong and independent girls who unite constantly to save the world.
Interesting.
And then TC says The Kent family. We brought it up, but he said the Kent family because Martha was a superb sounding board for soups. Agreed. And also Bats with his having no family whatsoever other than Alfred Pennyworth. So I would agree with that.
Although
he did create
a family was created for him.
It came about later. So.
How boring would Batman be if he didn't have his Bat family?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, for the longest time he didn't.
Yeah.
But it was a great evolution.
He'd just be just as boring as he is now.
No, once he got Robin, it all started, and that was issue 12, I think. So he came up with his Bat family pretty early. Because you can say that Robin was definitely the beginning of the Bat family.
Yeah, the Robins were always his wards, his kids. Yeah, always.
So is that all you
That's it, though. All we got for listener feedback.
Yeah, it was. We appreciate everybody writing in this week. I know it was tough with New Year's and everything else, and I know that's like last week for y'all. But and I know not as many people were online, but we appreciate everybody that wrote in, and I just say thank you guys so much for supporting our show. You guys rock. So now
thanks.
Let's move on to the game show. What?
Here's a generic game show for you.
Okay, so I have 5 questions for you guys, and they all have to do with some sort of superhero family in some way or other. So you guys ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Number 1. What is one of Violet's powers in The Incredibles? If you name both, I'll give you 2 points. Alrighty, you ready? Bluzz.
Her powers are reflection of the Invisible Woman's, which is invisibility and the ability to create force fields.
2 points for Blaz.
I said essentially the same thing, mimics the Invisible Girl's power of invisibility and force fields.
Yep.
And make that for 3.
Alrighty. Do you got them both in there?
Yep.
I knew you would.
Was there another one?
Check his paper. He didn't say it.
I'm checking it. It's there. That's a naughty gesture.
I'm honest on all these at least.
Okay.
Blize.
Number 2 will be really, really easy because we said it earlier in the podcast. Dun, dun, dun.
Good thing we wrote this down first,
Exactly. Who are considered Marvel's first family? Blythe?
The Fantastic Four.
You got it.
The Bat Family. No, that's the later one. No, the Fantastic Four.
And
the Foundation Force. I mean, the Fantastic Four.
A-Force. Oh, wait,
Future
no, that's
Foundation.
wrong. Okay. Number 3. What member of the Inhumans is named after a character from Greek myth? And you can have an extra point if you can name me that character's cousin, which is also named after a character for Greek myth. Bluzz?
Medusa.
Yes.
That's all I got.
That works.
I wrote Medusa. The only cousin I remember is Crystal, but I know that there's the one with the hoof feet.
Nope.
Might be the one. Okay.
Medusa is right.
Medusa, yes.
It's Medusa. The cousin was, I don't remember her name, but I know that she ended up, in the cartoon anyway, kind of sort of involved with Johnny, and I don't remember her name. It's killing me.
That was Crystal.
Interestingly enough, her name is Gorgon.
Oh.
Which is what?
No, Gorgon is the hoof one.
Which is what Medusa is. Medusa is a Gorgon.
Yep.
But you guys got Medusa, so that counts.
Yeah, it's Gorgon.
Okay.
We're tied all the way around, aren't we?
Yes, you are, but I think this one's going to be the breaker.
Yeah.
The breaker of chains.
Oh,
wait, that's Daenerys Targaryen. Okay, number 4. How many children does Ra's al Ghul have? And you can have a point for each one that you name to me. Lies?
It's impossible to tell because he's been around for so long. I'm sure there's hundreds and hundreds of children. I put 2, and I put Talia and Nessa.
Okay, you can have a point for Talia and Nessa, but he has more than Talia and Nessa.
Oh, I'm sure. Like I said, hundreds throughout the ages.
I only knew Talia.
You can have a point for Talia.
I knew Talia, that's it.
It's 3. Interesting enough. It's Nissa, it's Talia, and it's Dusan, his only acknowledged son. Okay, number 5. Who was the first actor to be nominated for a Golden Globe for playing a Marvel character? This might surprise you. It surprised the heck out of me when I read the answer. Blythe?
Is it Chadwick Boseman for Black Panther?
No, but that's a really good
Dang it.
guess.
Hugh Jackman for Wolverine.
Another really good guess, but actually not correct.
Chris Evans, and I know I'm wrong.
Nope, that's a good guess too.
Because of family, because he was in Fantastic
Chris
Four.
Evans for Human Torch. Give him a Golden Globe.
It's actually Ryan Reynolds for Deadpool.
Really?
Really?
Interesting.
So in second place, I know, I was
That's
like, really?
crazy.
Yep, he was nominated for Best Actor in a Comedy or a Musical, and it's the first time an actor has been nominated for playing a Marvel character.
Nice.
Interesting.
Well,
enough.
poop.
I know. He got nominated for playing Ryan Reynolds. Okay, tied in second place with 5 points each is Dub and PB, which means our winner is
It's
the
the
one
year
and
of the
only
Blythe.
So last week
And actually-
we had two winners.
No, actually,
and
you
who was
should-
the loser?
Nope.
The one who should be ashamed, Dub, is you because he won on a DC question.
I did win on a DC question.
Yeah, he did actually,
Yep.
yeah. Because you had Nissa and Talia.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you, Arrowverse.
But that's because he watches the Arrowverse. That's why he had Nissa. So, yay, Blythe. Good for
job,
you.
Blythe. Congratulations.
Okay.
Well done. No, I'm proud of you. Well done.
Good job, bud. Okay, so let's move on to our main event.
Now it's time for the main event.
Okay, so for our main event today, we did something a little differently. I said create 3 5-person teams in any pop culture medium that would function as a family team. And I think we kind of all stuck with kind of a superhero feel on it. With mine, I basically had at least one parental type, and then the other ones might be like more of a child type. They're not necessarily children, but that's how I did mine personally. So my number 3 would be Wolverine and Spider-Man as kind of a parental units, with the Punisher, Luke Cage, and She-Hulk as and that would be I think a fantastic team. But that feels like that would be a very
She-Hulk
interesting.
the mom?
Huh?
Is She-Hulk the mom?
No.
She's the aunt.
No,
She's the wily-eyed aunt.
Just because it's parental does not mean that it's traditional roles of male female, and there's probably no sexual tension here. Well, maybe with She-Hulk and
everybody else.
Punisher?
yeah, well, because that's how She-Hulk rolls. But I think that would be an interesting family unit, and I think that these guys would, given enough time, will hate each other, especially Wolverine and Spider-Man, but they will die for each other. And that's really kind of the crux of where the...
I'll give you points for clever, but also that's weird. That's a weird one. Like, I'm trying to put that one in my head, and it's weird, but it is clever.
Feels like you threw darts at
not even close.
At a Marvel poster, and those are the characters.
You're like they put in Marvel people. Shut up.
Okay, I've had a really hard time with this. So
it was tricky.
Yeah, I only have 2, so sorry. And I literally didn't know what I was doing. So I had a situation I thought of in terms of sitcoms.
Okay.
So a sitcom version of Wonder Woman and Superman as mom and dad, Batman as the cranky uncle, Barry Allen and Hal Jordan as the bickering sons.
But that's
kind of how they are.
I know. I literally was so at a loss with this guy. Sorry.
That's exactly the Justice League. Very good.
Right. So.
And to be fair, just to let everybody know, I didn't get these scripts out till way late this time for a lot of reasons that aren't any of your business other than the people at the table.
I'm just really bad at this.
Yeah. No, you're
I'm just
not.
really bad at this one. This one's not good.
They probably could make a real successful comic out of that team.
they could call themselves Justice Family.
The Justice Family.
I feel like they've tried it and it never really has worked in the past.
Well, it's something that's definitely better than the Avengers. Go ahead, sir. Wow, that anger just came out. It was amazing.
There was a lot of hate.
Let's watch the movies and then we'll talk again.
Take my Wonder Woman out.
My number 3 is Harry Potter and Sabrina the Teenage Witch as siblings.
Interesting.
So, are we talking like Sabrina Archie comics, Sabrina, or Sabrina the Chilling
or Sabrina
Adventures of
the modern satanic worshiping Satanist Satan?
Melissa Joan Hart.
Fun version.
That,
yes,
okay.
that Sabrina.
Okay.
I like that version.
Two very different perspectives of the witch and wizard communities. I think
it's interesting.
It would be funny to see them interact.
Fair enough. So that's actually pretty cool.
Interesting. I like that one. All right. So Buffy and her Scooby Gang are already a family.
Mm-hmm.
But let's remove Dawn from the Buffy verse.
Okay.
And in place of Dawn, put Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
Would he
taking on a brotherly role with Buffy and the rest of the Buffy gang?
If you take the supernatural, that'd be kind of interesting.
No, leave those in, because you'd have Peter Parker's kind of. You could almost make it like you could make it funny, because he could always be the guy that's always like, I hate paranormal, and it'd be like, I'll do it because I'm Spider-Man, but he could have a thing about it.
So when you're doing these stories in your head, is this a comic book? Is this a TV? Is this a movie?
Well, it worked as all three.
But when you're thinking about it, what is it to you?
This TV series.
TV series? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, in my number 2, I did something that was kind of twisted compared to how you'd normally think of things. Usually you'd have the parents that the parental unit that have everything together, and then the kids are all over the place and wild. I decided to do something a little bit different on this, and I did my parental unit would be Deadpool and Harley Quinn as the married couple.
Oh, Lord.
Wait. And then the kids would be Shazam / Billy Batson, Kyle Rayner, and Bart Allen, Impulse, because he adds just enough of that wild card.
Nobody's going to go near that house.
Those poor kids.
Those kids are going to be the ones that are going to keep the parents in line, and I think that would be absolutely fascinating. I want to read this comic book forever.
That actually makes me uncomfortable.
Why?
Yeah.
Because it really does, actually. It's giving me like oogie feeling. Because would you want your parents to be like so obviously psychotic?
When you read the Deadpool comics and when he deals with his daughter, he's very loving. He's a great father to his daughter.
Okay.
And I think it would be the same thing. And I like that dynamic. I like the wild parents with the kids that are completely in. It's almost like Family Ties with Michael J. Fox. Very, very, very liberal hippie parents, and then the ultra conservative son. It's kind of that same concept to me.
I guess, yeah.
I would enjoy the heck out of
it's
for at least 6 issues.
Kind of scares me, but yeah, I get you.
Fair enough. No one's really gonna live like this. Give me a break. You want? Well, we'll skip you on this one so you can do your first.
I wrote another one down.
Okay, go ahead.
So another one I wrote down that would be Doctor Who and his new companion, Deadpool.
Oh,
wouldn't you like to see Deadpool running around the TARDIS?
Which Doctor Who?
I'm going to either go with
the most current version of Doctor Who.
I'm either going to go with Tennant or I'm going to go with Tom Baker.
I'm good with either of those two.
Yeah, I think Deadpool would pair nicely with that. And I think if we want to get really creative,
Deadpool with Eccleston would be amazing.
Right, and let's throw Captain Jack in there.
Yeah.
Because...
Ooh, they'd out-crazy each other.
Right, I think
that'd
it would work.
That'd be beautiful.
It would work.
That's another interesting, frightening one.
I know.
Well, that'd be the most entertaining. Would be the ones that you couldn't imagine.
My number 2 is a parents one, and it would be Buffy Summers.
Oh, okay.
And Blade. Because Buffy has a thing for vampires.
Done this before.
She does.
That's funny. Yeah. I love that.
So,
so Angel and Spike would be history.
Angel and Spike would be history. Maybe that's even how it happens. He slays both of them, and then she just falls in love with him.
Huh.
Nice.
Complex. My number 2 is the Paranormal Brady Bunch with Sam and Dean Winchester along with Castiel and the Ghostbusters.
Oh, nice.
Built with
I think we just got Katie
Dr.
back on board.
Venkman, Ray Stantz, Egon, and why is it Winston? Yeah, so I feel terrible. I mean, I knew Ernie Hudson, but Winston. Yeah. Yes, you could have the Paranormal Brady Bunch. I think that pretty much explains it. You can't
that's great.
That's it. Yeah.
Outstanding. Are we back on me, number 1? Mm-hmm. Wow, it's so weird with this short list, but I'm kind of digging it.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like we're rushing as much. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my number 1 would be the Robins.
Okay.
This is a group that's already together, but literally as a family. This would be Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon as the parents. Jason is the rebellious oldest son. Tim is the nerdy middle child, who's getting picked on a lot probably, and then Damien as the brat baby brother of the family. And that really is
kind of who they are, too.
That is who they are.
Yeah.
And that's why that would be... Take Batman completely out. I don't care about Batman. Take the rest of the Bat family out. Take the rest of the Bat villains out. And I want to see what they do. And I want to see Dick being in charge of everybody. And then we'll have, he's probably cheating because he brought Starfire in, and that's another bad story altogether. Oh, that's a terrible story we're telling. But I want to read that. I almost want to read that as an Archie comic.
Yeah, okay.
Because their personalities, I think, are so much bigger than life, and they fit so perfectly as, a traditional thoughts on on family. So that's my thoughts on it.
Right on.
Okay, so the other one I came up with is you said any medium, any popcorn medium. So I am pairing Chance, who is our Vegas Golden Knights mascot.
Okay. If you're saying Gritty, I'm going to be so mad at you.
No, I hate Gritty.
Okay, good.
No, Brutus Buckeye, who is the Ohio State Buckeyes mascot. Two of the weirdest mascots. A nut. He's literally a poisonous nut, folks.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. And sometimes you don't.
And a Gila monster. And I think they should be siblings in like a buddy cop film.
Okay.
Because they're both kind of weird and crazy.
Interesting.
That wins the weird one. Congratulations.
Did she just beat my Harley Quinn?
She did. Yes, she did.
Okay, I don't feel so
I'm
bad
really
about
bad
myself.
at this question.
My number one is a tale of brotherly love, and that is a tale told between Tron and his big brother Neo.
Ooh.
I actually think that was the coolest one.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that.
So Neo's the big brother and Tron is the younger brother?
Yes.
I fight for the users. I love it.
See, I can't see it that way, but go ahead. Please continue.
We could do it the other way around. Tron, I guess that makes more sense. Tron being the big brother and
Yeah.
Neo's the younger
Because he's
brother.
older.
But yeah, I
He's as
think
old as
two very different ways of two stories that are very different in a way of telling from the inside of a computer program,
I like it.
colliding, and I think the really interesting
That's
story to
actually,
be
I
told
think,
there.
very cool.
I like it.
I'd be digging in that.
You got Master Control and what's the Matrix big boss bad?
The architect.
The Architect, yeah. Wow.
That's the villain team up.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I dig that. Okay, my number one is a little bit a little more thought out than some of my other ones. So let's see. You have brothers, Victor Von Doom and Lex Luthor as brothers.
Okay.
They're kind of the evil Phineas and Ferb.
I can see catch that.
You take the Greek goddess Hera as the mom, so she can sort of have the ability to keep them in line when necessary. But because they're the evil Phineas and Ferb, they're always plotting against two other brothers, Superman and the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
So the sitcom, this is a sitcom. The sitcom is always... Did I almost say something that I
Yes,
should
you
have?
almost did. You didn't.
I edited self at the last second.
I was impressed.
It was pretty good.
So this sitcom,
There you go.
I think could follow the Phineas and Ferb formula of always kind of being the same thing. With, again, Soups and the Silver Surfer getting out of whatever mayhem that the two brothers do, and then the mom, Hera, kind of being like, you boys, go to your room. So there you go.
So, before I close out, thank you guys for sticking with us on this weirder main event. You guys did awesome.
That's pretty weird.
But yeah, we got to mix it up every now and again. Hey, and yeah, thank you for being part of my superhero family, guys, and I say that to everybody that's ever on mic here. So,
it's clobbering time.
Yeah, that was a show. Listen to the new outro. It's got all our information on it, except for go to the show notes and click on our Redbubble and our Amazon link. It helps us out a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, all that other stuff. We love y'all. And yeah, until next time, I'm Dub.
I'm Miss Geeky Paige.
I'm Blythe.
I'm PB&Jason.
Keep on geeking on. So what you're saying is you're the baby brother, so you're still in the diaper, right? Is that what you're saying?
I'm the cool brother.
Time to make the chimichangas.
I'm the lovable blue-eyed thing.
You've You've been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.